Lee Marsh says, I'm in the process of making projects for my portfolio and I'm having a steep learning curve for 3D drawing. How do you approach learning a new skill? I gotta have something I want. I gotta want something with that skill. It can't be, it's never worked as an intellectual exercise except as a means to an end. Yeah. So I'm Machiavellian specifically in terms of project choice for knowledge acquisition. I want something from that skill. And that usually is enough. I want a certain level of quality. I want a certain level of lightness or heaviness or veracity. It's always going to be about the project that skill gets learned on. But you're making pieces for your portfolio. I'm going to give you some unasked for advice, which is it is great to include your own design aesthetic in your portfolio. It is important to. But it is equally important to show that you also know how to make something that the person interviewing you knows what it should look like. I've said this before. If you bring a portfolio to me and what I see is lots of beautiful Old West, dusty, steampunk, rusty steel and copper brass things, well, I definitely know your aesthetic. But since everything was individually designed by you, I don't know where you started and where you ended up, which means I don't know how useful you are to me as a supervisor. But if you bring me something like this and it's made out of carbon steel, then absolutely I know that you could do something remarkable in the replication of something for me. And the reality is when you're working for hire in a making capacity, you're going to be asked to contribute your aesthetics like a very tiny percentage of the time. Most of the work you will do will be fulfilling other people's aesthetics as best as you can. And if you do that work really well, every now and then someone would be like, hey, you want to try this on your own? Cut loose. And that's the best, but it's going to be the minority of the time. That was some unasked for advice and the answer to your question. Good luck, Lee. David Strom asks, do you need to worry about product placement on streams like this? Like, do you need permission to show brands? Not really, no. But it's an interesting question, and it's one that we deal with all the time, and one that drives me sometimes a little bit batty. You will notice, like I have here a roll of silver tape. This came from the Mythbusters production. And I can tell that because you can see how all the logos on the inside of the tape have been covered over with Sharpie. Now, Sharpie covering over the logos is a solution I came up with because what normally would happen would be that someone would take something like this and put tape over the whole label. Then I don't know what's in there. Then I peel the tape off and I peel the label with it. I can't tell you how many times that happened. It made me crazy. So then I came up with this method, which was, you can see that this is a Bob Smith Industries Instaset. Happy to call them out because they make great stuff. I've been using it forever. But if I want to cover over that logo, my newest technique, and this changed my life, is literally just to come in and make some marks until it's not possible to really read the logo. And that's all that it takes. That's all that it takes. And then I still know what's in there. I still can read the material safety sheet on the back and stuff like that. Look, I'm sure that if I had a Craftsman banner behind me and I had never talked to Craftsman about it, that they would eventually ask me why. But this economy of like brands that show up behind me, it is a fascinating one. It actually makes licensing the videos we make on Tested difficult to license for television because, yeah, there are other people's IP behind me or around me in this space. It used to make me crazy on Mythbusters because Discovery is a news organization. They technically don't have to cover up brands because they are just effectively reporting on reality as it exists. However, they are also a company involved in commerce, and in their involvement in commerce, they like advertisers to pay them for showing logos. So they make us cover up all the logos unless it's someone who's paying them, which is, look, fair enough. They can do business how they like. It just made me crazy. At one point, I couldn't even refer to a Toyota Corolla from the 70s because Toyota didn't want me to mention an out of production model or something like that. My Mythbusters crew will tell you, every time I'm holding something up and we had to stop so someone can come over and cover a logo, it just makes me super crazy. I mean, your question actually about the stuff behind me, it presupposes a greater order on the universe than exists. It's much more catch as catch can than you think. Let's see here. Phil Tubbs asks, have I thought about adding to my gun collection with some of the great guns from Serenity? I have. I have issues, and one of the issues is I'm never going to have a complete Vera, and so I'm not even going to start to try. Vera is an amazing weapon that Adam Baldwin shows off as in his role as Jane, and he tries to trade it to Mal for a woman, for Christina Hendricks, if I remember correctly. And Vera is a beautiful, beautiful weapon. And my friend, RPF member Joe Trash, actually made a really amazing one. And sold it. And I considered buying it when he sold it, but it was pricey because it's all physical labor and it was all aluminum and it was magnificent. The price wasn't too high. It was too high for me at that moment. So Vera, that's a tough one. For me, I know the experience I want with Vera, that gun, with all those attachments, and it's a daunting and big fat task. The other one is Mal's sidearm, which is a beautiful piece of industrial design. And the only reason I don't have one in my collection is I've never found one that I thought was just like the perfect one. They're out there. QMX made some great ones, and there's been some runs on the RPF of whole pieces and parts with real wooden grips that look just phenomenal. It hasn't crossed past me at a deal point that I liked. Yeah, but it'll get there. I'll totally have one of Mal's sidearms in my collection before the end of time, or long before that. Kevin Kopersky has gifted 20 memberships. Thank you, sir. Okay, hold on just a second. We've got like these big flies moving around today. They're kind of bugging me. And I'm doing that thing where, flies have great object avoidance. So I do the thing where I come in and slap here, and they off 3 times today so far. They've flown right into my hands. And then I remember that I've touched a fly, so I got to go wash my hands because it's disgusting. Thank you, Kevin Kopersky, for the gifting the 20 memberships. We really appreciate that. You guys, tested members, your support really matters, and it really means a lot to us. And if you want to know how to be a tested member, the link is in the description. The description is in the description, is what I was going to say. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support us even further, you can by becoming a tested member. Details are, of course, below, but it includes all sorts of perks, and we're building them all the time. You get advanced word and behind-the-scenes photos of some of our projects. Questions, you get to ask direct questions during my live streams, and we have some members-only videos, including the Adam real-time series of unbroken, unedited shots of me working here in the shop. They are weirdly meditative. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one.